and welcome to the End in Mind podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, the owner of Meraki Media Management. The End in Mind is a place where we come to share stories, tips, and strategies of many entrepreneurs, creatives, business owners, and just some people that aren't willing to live the traditional lifestyle. We talk about how to live outside of the box today and how to incorporate what really is important in your life to keep that end goal always in mind. Again, if you would like to reach out to me in any type of way, you can find me on Instagram at Meraki_media_management. And I hope to hear from you all soon. Thanks so much and enjoy our show. Excited to be here with you guys today. I wanted to start off by actually selecting our winner for our free 90-minute sit down with me. To our winner, Nicolette is our winner. Thank you so much for leaving your podcast review. Here's what she had to say about our show. This podcast has made me see a lot of avenues I can take with social network marketing. The host is also very personable. Thank you so much. And really does respond back to you on social media, which is always a plus. Thank you so much, Nicolette. Obviously, we've already been chatting in the DMs. So if you are listening to this podcast, I would love for you to reach out to me. I just tried to search your name as the Instagram handle and it isn't showing up. So I'm going to give you a whole week to reach out to me. We can connect on social and we'll set up your 90-minute sit down with me. So I cannot wait to work with you and hear more about your business since we've already been chatting a little bit on Instagram. And that's actually a great segue into our topic today as well. So if you are currently struggling with your social media, my account is not like any other social media manager's account out there. I actually am getting back to you in the DMs. I send voice messages back to people that reach out to me. This morning, I was actually speaking with a young woman. She is starting her own skincare line. She's already had a lot of all natural based skincare products out there. I've been helping her, define her ideal client in her hometown, but also obviously outside of that. But we're really positioning her as a local industry leader. And we're doing that all through her DMs. So really, I encourage you all to reach out to me if you haven't yet. There may be some piece of advice that I can give you, which may just click. Honestly, when it comes to social media, sometimes you only need that one missing puzzle piece to really get your leads flowing and make this be the most abundant avenue for your leads coming in, right? All we want is abundance and leads, and creating this type of content can be really challenging. So that is why I've created Meraki Media Management. That is why I've created this podcast. That is why I created my Instagram account. My goal and vision for this whole business is really just to help as many business owners as possible. I also am obviously really big on personal development. So that is why a lot of these topics naturally come into play when I'm chatting with you all about my business, my experiences, my stories. So I'm just super happy to now know how much you guys care about the show, are learning from the show, and that it's actually working for you all. So thank you all again so much. And this month we are going to be doing another giveaway. We will be doing a free $25 gift card to Starbucks. So if you do not do Starbucks, maybe you prefer Dunkin', and we end up choosing you, of course you can send me an alternative coffee shop that you would like to support, even if you have a local mom and pop coffee shop that you would rather us give you that $25 towards. Absolutely, that is something I'm willing to do, if we can support small business. Obviously, small business is the backbone of America, so the only way we can continue to lift each other up and keep each other in business is by supporting one another. So if you guys have, if you prefer Starbucks or if you prefer a local coffee shop and you write into us, leave us a Apple Podcast review on Apple Podcasts and just leave your Instagram handle in there, I will pull another lucky winner at the end of the next 2 months and you will be entered in to win that $25 gift card. So just another fun incentive for you guys. I want this to be a way for me to give back to you as well. And honestly, I know how much it takes mentally to leave these reviews as being on the other side of it, constantly listening to podcasts, requesting reviews. Half the time you're on a walk, you're not even by your phone really, or sitting down to leave a review. I know that, it has to kind of stick in your head to actually sit down and do it. So I'm hoping that this is a way for me to give back for your time for, leaving us a review, because I really do care about you guys so much. So let's jump into this week's topic. I am so pumped, you guys. This is something that I've been talking about a lot on my social media since the pandemic, honestly. I had a lot of fear, right? I'm sure we all did, come up in 2020, a lot of fear that was uncontrollable, right? We all were being thrown into this chaos, and I had to change my mindset around this fear early on. Like, I had to get back to my values, my morals, my ethics as a human being. And this is something that's always really grounded me in my whole life, just getting back to who I am. It's so funny. Last week, I actually shared on Friday a little bit of more about my dad, but my dad used to say to me all the time when I was a young girl, like, he would see me with my friends or whatever, trying to be cool, maybe like acting a certain way or saying certain things. And he would pull me aside and say things like, Caitlin, you have to just be yourself. If you aren't yourself, then people won't really know if they like you or not, right? Or if you're not yourself, then you won't actually be yourself. You'll lose your identity, and then you'll just continue down this road of like upkeeping this non-natural way of yourself. And this was a basic lifestyle hack that I would say he gave me from since I was young. It's something I've carried with me my whole life. Frequently when I feel stumped or if I feel like I'm acting out of character, I try to slow down, ask myself, am I acting out of my own ethics and morals, or am I reacting based around the situation at hand? Maybe I'm being triggered on something, or maybe it's just maybe I'm being lazy, right, around a certain piece of client work, which is really out of alignment for who I am. Then I will just get back to my values, okay, I was lazy yesterday. How can I get back on the horse today, right? And how can I see and continue to put my values first as a human being? That has always helped me. And really that comes back down to being who you are and authentically being yourself. I frequently hear people say about this podcast, which I would love to know your all opinion on this. They'll say that our podcast is really authentic, which I love, because being authentic is the only way for me to show up in integrity for you guys. Like, I could show up with this CEO voice and get really serious about business Instagram tips, and we're gonna take you strategically through how to operate Instagram and sell through this application, and it's gonna be really robotic, right? But that is so not me. You guys know that that's not me. Clearly, I have a very creative, abstract mind. I think about things as a whole, right? A holistic outlook on life. And I see how many other things can impact a one certain thing. A lot of these analogies that people will be using nowadays are the trickle-down effect, right? We all learn about this in high school and, middle school even, right? When you're learning about things like government, investing money, business. It's called the trickle-down effect. If you funnel money into a local mom and pop coffee shop versus funneling money into Starbucks, that money is going to have more of an impact on that small business because we know that it's going to, right? It's not a conglomerate. It's not going out to the mass large corporations. It's going to have an immediate impact on the smaller business just because of how things work, right? That small business owner is then going to invest in a social media manager, which then keeps other businesses going. Whereas Starbucks may be utilizing that money to funnel it back into an ad campaign to get more coffee in your pocket, right? So just understanding these ideologies and understanding how to look at fear and change the mindset around this fear. So this can be literally applied to anything in your life. You guys will frequently hear me share my story of launching the Instagram giveaway, which was extremely successful, but I had no clue that it would get there. And that initial fear was so crippling. And if you can't change your mindset and be your own coach at times like this, to pull yourself out of that fear, it's impossible for you to move forward. Fear is so crippling to the mind. It keeps you in this cycle, in this pattern of only looking at the negative or only looking at the possible outcomes that could happen, right? It has you totally in fight or flight mode. You're only thinking about outcomes. And really what you have to think about when you're going through fear is the immediate. Is this fear going to benefit me now, right? Am I looking a bear in the face? This is so funny. Quick side story. My uncle, we were actually down at the beach celebrating, seeing some family after this long break of not really being able to see anyone. And my uncle and aunt live up in upstate New York, and they have tons of bears out there. And he was in his garden garage, I guess like gardening out back. He looks up and there is a bear, literally a bear sitting right in front of him. It came around the side of the shed and was facing him. He said it was so close to him, he could smell the bear. And you know what he did? He stayed very calm. They teach you how to handle these situations when you live in high populated bear areas. And luckily he was safe, and just very calmly went into the shed and kind of like stayed really calm. The bear just moved on with the rest of his day. But how funny is this? Like your initial innate reason why you have fear is for something like that. If you're literally being shown in your face that you have some sort of reason to be scared for your safety, right? That's what fear comes from. But now as we've evolved as human beings, that fear has grown to sit with us, right? It's not just over after the bear walks away. It's a mental fear. It's almost like a seed being planted in your brain. And if you can't get out of that fear, then there's almost no way of taking the next step. So a lot of business owners I hear, say online, right? They will be struggling with limiting beliefs. This is the same thing as fear. You have almost this manifestation type of thought in your brain from having past experiences. I tried to start a business before and it failed. Well, that is a very large limiting belief that you have to work through in order for your business to be successful, because that is almost a belief, a thought that you will carry on with you in your business unless you dissect why you are feeling this way. Why did the business fail a certain way? Get down to the nitty gritty. Maybe it was a past trauma that you were bringing into the business that was affecting it negatively. There's almost always something else there. And the more you can step back from this fear and almost point it out, the more you will be able to handle these long-term stressful situations in a much better capacity than just reacting, right, out of fear, even though that's what our basic divine being is built to do, right? It's built to save us. And that's just something we have to be mindful of. The more we can understand how our past experiences affect us, how our innate abilities of just being human affect us, and we see these certain types of, I guess it's basically a thought process over time that will have to be changed as community changes, as society changes. And right now we're going through a huge awakening. People are ready to look more towards the human identity, I would say, and less out towards everyone else for everyone else's approval. And that just simply comes from being inside and having no other choice, right? So this awakening is it's approaching very quickly. And the more that we can be aware of our emotions, the more we will be able to handle the next set of whatever is coming, right? The next phase of life, the next season of our lives, the more prepared we will be to handle our emotions in those certain capacities. Now, I want to share another form of fear, which is definitely a limiting belief, but not all people think of it as a limiting belief. And I think that this is something that will really resonate with you all. So when you are in the social media online space, there is a lot of pressure because there are millions of content creators out there on the same application selling exactly what we all sell, doing almost the same thing when you look at it at a bird's eye perspective. And when you don't show up on social media every day, it can bring an extreme amount of anxiety. So for example, I'm recording this on Friday, September 3rd. Earlier this week, I live in the greater Philadelphia area. We went through a massive storm. It was the Hurricane Ida, not sure how to pronounce that, guys. Sorry for that. But she came through and Mother Nature came a-knocking and we were flooded. I mean, the whole back part of our house in our town was completely flooded. I feel so terrible for the people behind us. I mean, they had to have lost a lot of things in their homes. Cars were being washed away. I mean, if you look down to Center City, Philadelphia, the whole tunnels were being filled, just wild stuff. And the more you go through, I guess, different types of things in your life, the more you realize something as small as like posting on social media really does not matter. And the reason why I want to share this is because I work in social media, and this is almost like me telling you guys to post every day, but also not post every day. And I want to share this because it's not black and white, right? There's not always one answer to every single question. And this is a great example. So when we had all of this terrible flooding, I knew that I had to take time for myself simply because the stress of thinking that the water was coming, not knowing how we would hold Bailey if we had to get taken out on lifeboats, like our neighborhood over had to be taken out on lifeboats. So it was a very, very stressful day. And I knew the next day I would have to work still if I could, if Wi-Fi was on, right? But I knew that I probably wouldn't be able to show my face on social media because I'm not going to be in the right energy and I'm going to be really low. And it's probably going to be best if I just post a story letting everyone know that I'm okay, my family is safe. So lucky for that, so thankful for that, and move on with my day in this gratitude instead of feeling like I have to broadcast myself out to all of these people. And there are moments in your life and in business as you settle into this awareness where you're able to tap into certain moments where you need this time. And you know what? Intuitively, you need this time. You know that you can give yourself grace because you deserve it. And just like yourself, everyone else is a human being. So even if you should, quote unquote, literally in quotes, should be posting on social media 7 days a week, does that feel really heavy to you? I know it does to me. I hate posting on social media on the weekends. That's my time off. I don't want to be working on the weekends. We post 5 days a week. If we don't get a post out during the week, guess what? Life happens. It's not the end of the world. If we can't create a reel that week, it's okay. Give yourself grace. You can't always be perfect, and certain things are going to arise in your life that you have to give yourself grace for, especially as we all get older. Like this year, I just turned 25. It's really important to be able to set those boundaries with people when you hit 25. You're in this weird state of like people still thinking you're a kid, or are you a kid? They still see you as a kid, but you're obviously also an adult. Now I'm a business owner. I'm definitely an adult, right? And setting these certain boundaries around this fear, right? To set yourself up so that you don't get to that place. For an example, like just by setting boundaries with clients, right? Like I only work Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you need to contact me, please contact me during working hours. If it's outside of working hours, feel free to send me an email and we will get something scheduled for the following week. Like these boundaries are all very natural and actually very important for you and your mental health, so that when you are putting your phone down, you actually can unplug, and that fear of not unplugging isn't sitting in the back of your head all night as you're eating dinner with your family. Like this is really real. When you run your own business, you could be working 24/7 very easily, and you fall into it, especially if you're trying to reach certain revenue goals and pay something like your effing mortgage, right? This is real life. That's why I want you guys to just be aware. How much are you actually working? Guaranteed you're probably working a lot more than you think. Even when you're looking at your phone, you're doing some sort of market research, right? So make sure that you guys are giving yourself time to step back and look at your emotions, look at your physical body. How are you feeling? Tap into that and seriously notice when these emotions are arising, like fear, like, the need to show up on social media and feel perfect for your business every day. Like, not setting these boundaries with clients around times and feeling like you are working 24/7, you're gonna burn out, right? Like, we're only human. So this fear is actually a fuel to putting you towards the right path, to giving you this divine setup for your life. But when you're feeling it, it's so crippling. So changing that mindset, don't be so afraid of the fear. Let the fear come. Let the emotion hit you and let yourself feel it. Maybe you need to take a day. Maybe you need to take 2 days. Maybe you need to take a week or a month, especially if you've lost a family member. I've gone through a lot in my life at a very young age. I've lost a lot of people that were very close to me. My whole childhood, right? I went through a lot of loss at a very young age, which I'm very thankful that most people don't experience that. But I think that this mindset that those experiences gave me could benefit a lot of people. And the more the fear becomes less a part of you and more of an object, it doesn't feel as scary. And half of the things that we're worried about probably are crazy, right? And it's not even gonna happen. We're just creating these crazy scenarios in our heads. And the more you let yourself feel and work through that emotion, the more your intuition will come through and speak to you, the more you will know what next steps you should be taking versus the ones that you shouldn't. When I signed up for that auto posting company that I mentioned to you guys a few episodes back, I started working with this auto posting company that really just was not a good fit for me. I got into a contract. It was really unfortunate. I ended up, just feeling super crappy about it. And I beat myself up about it, you guys, for a while. I mean, months. I was like, I'm so stupid. How could I sign a contract like this? And I had a lot of fear going into that contract. And that was actual fear that I probably should have let myself fully feel and fully digest before signing the contract, because then I would have made a better decision for myself, which it would have been not signing the contract, right? So the more you chaotically try to push down these emotions, the actual quicker they arise, which will cause you to make like impulsive decisions, or maybe not even impulsive, but it can maybe cause us to have a reaction that we don't want when we just continue to push down emotions. And it's so funny because I thought my whole life I was allowing myself to feel these emotions, but I wasn't. It was just trained behavior. You know, something I'm really looking into now, which is kind of a overarching theme of holistic and spirituality, but watching your own patterns and understanding your own patterns as a human being can actually benefit you much more in your future. It gives you a great outlook on how much time you're wasting versus how much time you're actually utilizing well. And I can tell you guys, you know, there's some days where I know that I'm only going to work 5 hours that day because I have a full day of content, and that's going to take me 5 hours, and I have to put my phone and laptop away after because I'm just so drained creatively. And that happens. Then I will give myself grace with not getting on the Instagram story that day. Like I said, maybe I push the reels off to the next day. Don't be so rigid with yourself. Give yourself grace. Allow your calendar to flow. You know, this fear can help you when you allow yourself to feel it no matter what. You will find what you need through your intuition if you let yourself fully feel the emotion. Don't push it down. You know, there's a reason why it's coming up. You don't have to fester on the thought, but just let it come. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing. Like I shared with you guys during our personal development episode, you know, I will frequently say, if I hang on to a thought, it can fester, right? And I start to spin around that one thought and create all these scenarios. And I will stop myself now. You know, is this benefiting me? No, this is most likely a waste of time, a waste of my energy, and it's not allowing me to be creative and be productive about my lifestyle and where I want my life to go. Like, it has gotten this much of coaching in my brain of being like, is this thought process benefiting me? If not, how can I switch towards something that will? Obviously, that can be as small as, you know, turning towards a thought of gratitude or manifestation. But the more that we don't observe these patterns, we will continue to manifest things in our lives that we don't want, that we don't desire. So be aware of those patterns. Be aware of when your fear is arising, and stay aware of how you can reground yourself, feel that emotion and regroup and get back on your trajectory of where you want to go, which is always keeping the end in mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I know I had a great time chatting with you all. Again, I hope if you have a chance, you will leave us an Apple Podcast review. Make sure to pop your Instagram handle in there. You will be entered into a pool to win a $25 gift card to a coffee shop of your choice. Anywhere in the world that you're looking to possibly purchase a coffee, I will look it up for you. Worst comes to worst, we will send you a Visa gift card. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. And of course, if you enjoyed it, I can't wait to hear more about it in your review. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening to The End in Mind. I would like to remind you all, if you haven't yet reached out to me on Instagram, we are at Meraki_media_management. It will be in our show notes as well. If you would like to reach out to me, we always offer free coaching through Instagram based around our Instagram training and our business Instagram practices. If you need any type of support, please do not hesitate to reach out to me there. And we also offer several different types of consulting and training packages if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth tips. So thank you all for listening in, and of course, I want you all to keep the end in mind as you continue with your day and or work week. Have a great week, and I will see you all next time.